Amazon's first leadership principle is called customer obsession. It is the foundation of the entire company. Jeff Bezos has been quoted on this since the 90s. So when a senior Amazon employee was caught in an internal email describing millions of unwanted Prime subscriptions as, and I am reading this directly from a federal court filing, an unspoken cancer, that was a problem. Hold on to that word. We are coming back to it in 5 minutes. Because Amazon just paid $2.5 billion to stop me from saying it. On September 25, 2025, a federal judge in Seattle entered a court order against Amazon.com Incorporated. $1 billion in penalties, the single largest civil penalty the Federal Trade Commission has ever obtained for breaking one of its rules. $1.5 billion in refunds, 35 million customers harmed. The complaint runs over 200 pages, but the entire case comes down to one button, one subscription, and one really weird thing Amazon's own engineers named after an ancient Greek poem about a 10-year war. This is the case against Amazon Prime. The settlement got covered as a corporate slap on the wrist. It was not. The internal documents that came out in trial are some of the most damning evidence a big tech company has ever produced about itself. The system they built to keep you paying is now the textbook example of what regulators call a dark pattern. So let me walk you through what they actually did, page by page, button by button. The first thing you should know is that Amazon knew every step of this. They had the data, and we are going to walk through that data line by line. The Prime sign-up trap had 3 layers. Layer 1, the buttons. Amazon's checkout pages were stacked with prompts that did not clearly tell you that clicking the button would also sign you up for a $14.99 a month Prime membership. The federal complaint specifically calls out a button that said get free 2-day shipping in giant letters, with the actual subscription terms buried below it in fine print. If you wanted to skip Prime, you had to find, and I am not making this up, a separate button that read, quote, "No, I do not want free shipping," end quote. Most people are not going to click "No, I do not want free shipping." That is the entire point. Layer 2, Amazon collected your billing information before they ever disclosed the full terms of the subscription. By the time you found out what you were actually agreeing to, your credit card was already in their system. Layer 3, even if you noticed, you still had to find the cancel button. Which brings us to the part that got Amazon sued. And if you think the sign-up was bad, wait until you hear what Amazon's cancel button was actually doing. Until April 2023, and I am choosing those words carefully, because this thing was in place for 7 years. There was a button on Amazon's website that said, in plain English, end membership. I am going to quote the federal complaint directly. Quote, "That button did not end membership. Rather, it took the consumer to the Iliad flow." End quote. The Iliad flow, that is the actual name. Amazon's own engineers called the cancellation process after Homer's Iliad, the ancient Greek poem about the Trojan War. The Trojan War lasted 10 years. The Iliad itself is over 15,000 lines long. This is the name Amazon chose for its cancel button. Now ask yourself why a company that runs on, quote, customer obsession, end quote, would name the cancel button after a 10-year war. The answer is in the next 4 minutes. If you have ever tried to cancel something online and felt like you were going insane, hit subscribe. We do this every Wednesday. New company, new system, every week. The Iliad flow was a 4-page, 6-click, 15-option cancellation process. Signing up for Prime took 1 or 2 clicks, canceling took 6, and those 6 clicks were not just navigation. Every single page had off-ramps, discount offers, pause buttons, are you sure prompts, a reminder of every Prime benefit you would lose, a summary of, quote, your Prime journey, and here is the kicker. Amazon's own internal data disclosed in trial showed that the Iliad flow reduced Prime cancellations by 14% at its peak in 2017. 14% of the people trying to cancel gave up. That is the entire business case. Amazon executives reviewed simplifications to the process, saw cancellation rates go up, and rolled the simplifications back. Every time. Because the friction was the feature. Now, that word from the opening, cancer, here is what they meant. An Amazon employee in an internal document described unwanted Prime enrollments as, quote, an unspoken cancer, end quote. Another employee called the subscription tactics, quote, a bit of a shady world, end quote. These are not whistleblower allegations. These are Amazon's own people, writing in Amazon's own systems, knowing exactly what they were doing. The Federal Trade Commission sued Amazon in June 2023. They named the company and they named 2 senior executives personally. Neil Lindsay, Senior Vice President. Jamal Ghani, Vice President. That is rare. The Federal Trade Commission almost never names individual executives. They named these 2 because the internal documents put their fingerprints directly on the decisions. The case went to trial in September 2025. 3 days in, 3 days, Amazon folded. They agreed to pay $2.5 billion. They agreed to redesign the enrollment process. They agreed to redesign the cancellation flow. They agreed to an independent monitor who now sits inside the company watching how they run subscriptions. The court order is enforceable for the next several years. So what do you do with this? 3 things. First, if you had a Prime subscription that auto-renewed without your clear consent, or if you tried to cancel and got pushed into the Iliad flow, you may be owed up to $51. The claim deadline is July 27, 2026. The official Federal Trade Commission refund page is in the description. Some refunds were already mailed automatically in late 2025. Check your card statements and your email. Second, if you do not want Prime, cancel it right now using the new flow. Amazon is legally required to make cancellation as easy as sign-up. If they make you click more than twice, that is a federal violation. You can report it to the Federal Trade Commission directly. The link for that is also in the description. Third, once you see the "no, I do not want free shipping" pattern, you will start seeing it everywhere. Streaming services use it. Meal kits use it. Gym apps use it. The legal name is negative option marketing. After the Amazon settlement, every regulator in the country is now hunting for it. Recognize the pattern, and you stop falling for it. Here is the thesis. Amazon did not get caught because of a bug. They did not get caught because of a mistake. They got caught because their own employees wrote down, in writing, that they knew the system was deceptive and they kept it anyway. The friction was the feature. That is how every modern subscription trap works. Next week, United Healthcare's artificial intelligence denies 90% of the claims it touches, and the people running it know. See you Wednesday.